Can you hear me now?
I mean, we can hear you, but it's not through the mic.
Right.
We just hear you talking. I'll do it.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, all right. So we'll start over. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Safety, Utilities, and Environment Committee meeting for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Before we begin, item number 4, which is the matter of the water and sewer rates for the calendar year 2025, we are going to have a joint meeting with Finance on Monday. And the reason for that is we know that there will be a lot of questions. And we just thought, rather than having 2 separate meetings with all the questions, we'll just have 1 meeting so that Kenny can get all of his questions out. So thank you. So we're going to have a joint meeting with Finance on Monday. So we shall begin. The first item on the agenda is the matter of entering into an agreement with ODOT for an urban paving project for State Route 301, Abbey Road. Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just for clarification, State Route 301, it's also State Route 57, which 301 and 57 do share a portion of, so. But I'll go over the limits with you as I discuss it. So essentially, what we have here is ODOT has funding for urban paving. Urban paving is a typical, kind of like a maintenance program for asphalt pavement that they contribute with the cities for. As part of urban paving, they only pay for traditionally the surface. So they'll pay for 1.5 inches typically of asphalt, 80-20 split, of course, the city paying 20%. Pavement markings, which are the basic pavement markings, anything above the basic pavement markings, the city would have to take or pay for the difference of, and things of that nature. They don't pay for curbing, they don't pay for the curb ramps, they don't pay for even partial and full depth repairs that are required. But this is a program that ODOT does across the entire state. And essentially, the project limits for this is State Route 57 from Chestnut Ridge all the way up to Cleveland Street, which is also State Route 301 as well. And State Route 301, Abbey Road portion from State Route 57 to Sheffield. The project wouldn't go to construction until 2026, so we're basically 1.5 years away from this. The city's portion at this time is projected to be $1,219,536. Now, as far as funding for that, the city's portion, in the past, what we've done is we've utilized the state infrastructure bank loan program. We have been compiling some funds in our Muni Motor Vehicle Fund, that knowing that we have a number of ODOT projects coming down the line as far as this type of work. And as you can see, our portion is quite large on this one: Murray Ridge, 2nd Street, Auburn Elyria Road. So we have a number of projects that are coming down the line as far as the Muni Motor Vehicle Tax Fund. We're using a lot of that for that. That's why we've kind of hoarded it for a while. And we'll discuss with the finance director how he would prefer to pay for this. I think we have enough in the kitty to pay for this right now outright, unless he would rather use state infrastructure bank, but this does go to finance as well, so he'll be there that day too. So at this time, we're just looking to get approval from council to move forward, so with that we can enter an agreement with ODOT so this project can be done.
This does not need to be an emergency?
No.
Okay. Are there any questions for Engineer Snyder? Mr.
Engineer
Stewart?
Schneider, if you could, can you just reiterate the fact, the urban pave, can you just go over that again, what that is and the meaning of that is?
Essentially, urban paving is state routes that, for resurfacing. It's resurfacing on state routes is what it is. And it's not a full resurfacing like we do with 3 inches. It's the surface course only. So they look at this as being more of a maintenance program than it is a preventative maintenance program than it is a full resurfacing. So they being the ODOT, they pick up 80% of certain items. City would be responsible for 20%. of various items as well, and 100% of other items. Now, as part of this, the state has also, they will pay for the preliminary engineering, because they'll do it in-house, as well as the environmental study that they require for all projects. They do that stuff in-house, but then things like construction engineering costs, we'll have to pay 80, it would be an 80-20 split with the city paying 20% as well. So essentially, it's a resurfacing, but it's only 1.5 inches.
And the only reason why I ask is, through your chair, the only reason I ask is because I know on State Route 57, as you're going from south to heading north and then going over and through, when you go past these intersections, there was some milling that was taken down because of maybe some humps. And what I was getting at is, if there's any undercutting that's going to need to be done in this area over and through, or certain areas, is that an extra cost that's going to be ended up on us
Yes.
at that point?
Anything over 1.5 inches will fall on the city to pay for.
Okay.
We're not required, I mean, we'll also be managing the project with ODOT typically. We'll go out there when they try to do, they're looking to do full depth pavement repairs, and we will discuss with them which ones get done as well. So we can help control the cost a little bit, but at the same time, the pavement, we want to make sure we're doing a good job and not have to come back. And this is a typical type of thing that takes 10 to 15 years before they come back again.
Yeah. And one more question just to follow up. I know there was a presentation that was made by the safety director in regards to the street scanning. Will this be part of, I know this, that we're just discussion, but is ODOT, will they do that on this particular road?
They
in this
already
stretch?
do. They already do it. Like I said, this is something, when it comes to the pavement condition rating, they already do it on all federal aid routes.
Okay.
So 57, 301, Abbey Road, Gulf Road, Middle Avenue, things of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Engineer Schneider? Mr. Schneider?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Engineer Schneider. So our portion would be 1.2 and some change, and then we would be on the hook for anything that this doesn't cover, correct? Like you had said, like curbs and things like that?
Yes. Now, I will say that the 1.2 million does include, when ODOT puts together their estimate here, they do include certain amount of full depth. They look at the curb ramps ahead of time. We've already discussed with them, we want long-term pavement markings, not the cheap pavement markings, because we don't want to be out there painting it every year. So they already know that, and they've kind of included that in that 1.2 million. So, I mean, a lot of those things we've kind of already discussed with them.
Very good. It seems like this pretty much goes from north to south, the whole entire city. It doesn't go from Cleveland Street to Abbey on 57, and then basically that's the only section from Chestnut Ridge to Sheffield Village that it doesn't cover.
Correct.
That's a lot of territory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Engineer Schneider? Seeing none, I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of entering into an agreement with ODOT for an urban paving project of State Route 301, Abbey Road, and State Route 57, Cleveland Street to Chestnut Ridge Road. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into said agreement with ODOT. Estimated project cost, $3,291,777. Estimated city portion of the project, $1,219,536. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Oswald. Are there any additional questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of entering into an agreement with ODOT for sidewalks and bike paths in the area of Burns Road and Abbey Road North. Engineer Schneider?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. ODOT has come out with a new program. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's called the Pedestrian and Bicycle Special Solicitation. And essentially what it is to help improve pedestrian travel, bike travel. It encourages that kind of mode of transportation. It is a grant that is 100% for a city our size. If you were a larger city, there's an 80-20, it's an 80-20 split. I believe the population would have to be 100,000 or more, and it's an 80-20 split, but because we're under that, we could apply for and get 100% cost paid for. This is different than some of the other programs they have to a point where you don't have the 100%. This 100% would apply to both design, construction, construction management, right-of-way, anything. So it essentially covers the whole gamut, and that's what we're looking to apply for. This came out shortly after, unfortunately, the incident on Burns Road, and so this is a reason why we look at this being a good spot, as well as in discussing it with ODOT. They said because there's a park there, there's the college is out there, that it appears to be a good candidate. And what we're looking to try to do, the sidewalk that we're looking trying to go with, we haven't figured out the total amount yet, and essentially the project limits. We have it cut it in 3 tiers right now. We have Burns Road being tier 1, getting that area taken care of first. One of the big issues with Burns Road is the fact there's a culvert there at the bottom of that hill, and it's not an easy thing to cross, so there could be a potential right-of-way requirements for that. But that would be our top priority to try to get funding for. We'd also like to get funding for up there on State Route 301, Abbey Road. On the west side, from Burns Road north to Antioch, there's portions of sidewalk that are there, and there's portions that aren't there, so we'd like to fill in the gaps, take care of that, and then we came up with another priority. Priority 3 would be to extend it from Burns Road south to Briar Lake on the west side as well, so we're connecting the whole Briar Lake area up north, as well as extend the bike path that comes out of Sheffield down south toward Burns Road as well. I have a map here, and I don't know if you'd like to see this, but this is kind of our priorities right now we're looking to do, but like I said, with this being a new program, it's 100%. There's really no disadvantage to the city, hopefully, other than we have to maintain it in the future, but I think that's a small price to pay. And we're planning, just another couple things about it. There's not a cap for this at all, is what they've come out with. They do discourage anything over $3 million. What we're looking to try to go for is about $1 million total as far as construction costs. So we think it's a sweet spot, and for the areas we're looking to take care of, it's much needed, as well as we're working with Macaulay as well on this as well. So
And if we can get a 100% grant
correct.
with no match, that's awesome. That'd be awesome. Do you need this to be an emergency, Mr. Snyder?
No. This is a something that they're going to accept every quarter. We're hoping to have it out by our application in before January 1st was the deadline for the first one, so we'll be first out of the gate, but no, we don't need an emergency.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. So I couldn't remember if there was a sidewalk going from Burns Road south on the east side of the street in front of Finwood. Is there a sidewalk there now?
Yes.
So then this would continue in the front of the college and connect into the path down the street into Sheffield?
Yes.
Okay, because a few years back, I was trying to get that to happen because we've got some people that try to get to the veterans place for appointments and they walk or they take their scooter there. So anyhow, that's a good thing. I hope that we can get this. That would be great. You know, the bicycles, everybody's using them. They're going places. And you're right, we've got so much stuff. After the accident, you know, it's sad that, you know, we couldn't have done it sooner, but because of the park and stuff, it just makes the parks and everything more accessible. So, hey, keep our fingers crossed and see if we can make that happen. Thanks.
Mr. Snyder, just a quick question. Will there be a crosswalk, say, from the north side of Burns Road to the park?
Yes, so currently we do have one at Naples. We do have the RFBs there. So we would connect that on both, all the way through from Gulf Road, all the way to Abbey Road. We are also looking at, because crossing that culvert is going to be expensive. We're probably only going to have either one bridge or a culvert extension to get across there. We'd also install probably RFBs at Hillcrest as well, so that you can get from any of the houses on Burns Road, you just have to cross at one of the crosswalks, and then you'd be able to get to the culvert as well to get to the.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart?
Yes, through you, Chair. So I think this is great. Again, it's an unfortunate incident that happened over there on Burns, which is just right around the corner from where I'm at there. A question that I wanted to pose, and if we can do this, because on Burns Road, in certain areas, there's ditches. And I don't know that this would involve that just because it's for sidewalk and a bike path, but is that something that I think we should look at on more particularly the south side from the culvert heading eastbound? There's not that many ditches there, but I would encourage that we would look at that to fill those ditches in and pipe it. Now, I know that's another expense, but I would just like to see what that number looks like, just to...
We did look at that as well, because there are areas that will be impacted where you put a sidewalk with some of those ditches as well. I will say the grant does not cover any type of asphalt, pavement, like the road does not include, I believe, storm drain pipes. So until we actually go out there and do a full survey and engineering, we don't know what, we could have costs. We could have costs if it comes back for those. The way it's shown online, it's pretty vague as far as drainage if it becomes an issue. One of the big things they want to do is get this program going sooner than later. So even with that, we might even break up our application into multiple applications just to try to get things done. Because the culvert, once again, is a big issue as far as right away, whether or not we can get that. If we even get the sidewalks done out there, you'll still be able to get around. You just have to go the long way around. So we can still improve the area. But yes, we will look at the drainage as well. And if we do have something in there that we can do, I have no problem moving forward with that out of stormwater funds. Curbing, that would be very expensive, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the curbing. I'm just trying to eliminate the ditches that's over and through there. Because some of those, off the berms, they kind of erode away over and through there, and it's just nothing but a gathering of garbage that gets off the road and just lays in the ditches and everything like that. So if there's an opportunity that we can use other resources to help this along while we're doing it, I think we should look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm not on this committee, but just a comment, this is wonderful. I hope we can get it. It's very much needed on that northern quarter of town. Do you think, on the map, it's hard to tell. I know you were saying one side of Burns, and I don't know if I didn't catch this. Do you think that the walk would probably be only on the north side of Burns Road, or would it be on the south?
Just looking at the auditor's website, as far as right-of-way is concerned, it looks like there's more room on the south side than the north side.
Okay.
So I would assume the south side, but until, once again, we get into it, we don't know exactly where we would put it.
The south side would make sense because you have the neighborhood and the park, so, right. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Engineer Snyder? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of a pedestrian and bicycle special consolidation grant application for sidewalks and bicycle paths on or near Burns Road and Abbey Road North. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into an agreement with ODOT for said project. Project design, construction, and management is funding eligible through the grant, no match required. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who's second?
There's a tie.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Motion made by Mr. Oswald, second by Mr. Stewart. Any other questions?
Oh, for the question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the matter of the purchase of chemicals for the water pumping plant and the wastewater pollution control plant for calendar years 2025 and 2026. Hello, Mr. Jacobs.
Hello, through you, Madam Chair. This is just an annual bid for chemicals for the water and wastewater plant. We do this every year.
Are there any, thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Are there any questions for Mr. Jacobs? Mrs. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair. So this is just our usual 2-year, or is it 1 year or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
The year, it goes into 2026. It's from March of '25 to March of '26.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Jacobs? Okay, so there's going to be two different committee reports, one for wastewater and one for water pumping. So, seeing no other discussion, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the purchase of operating chemicals for the water pumping plant for the years 2025 and 2026. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into the contract for purchase of said chemicals. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Oswald, second by Mr. Armstrong. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next committee report, we have considered the matter of the purchase of, we have considered the purchase of operating chemicals for the wastewater pollution control plant for the years 2025 and 2026. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the purchase of said chemicals. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved?
Moved by Mr. Oswald, second by Mr. Armstrong. Any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. And Mr. Stewart, thank you. Again, item number 4, we're going to have a joint meeting with Finance on said item on Monday. So there is no other business to come before this committee. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Oswald, second by Mrs. Davis. Any other questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Elyria Rules Committee meeting for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. We have 2 items on the agenda. The first would be the approval of October 9th, 2024 Rules Committee meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Second item is the matter of a reappointment of the Community Development Chair, referred by President Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this particular time, I'm going to defer my comments to Mr. Callahan.
Thank you, President Stewart, and this is through you, Chairman. Early in September, I sent a letter to President Stewart, Pro Tem Mitchell, and Law Director Deary of my intentions to step down as the chairman of the Community Development Committee by the end of this year. Personally, I just felt it was time for me to step down. I'm committed to helping and working with and supporting the new chair, whoever Mr. Stewart is going to nominate. So that's where we're at with this particular item, and I do appreciate the fact that I was able to serve in that role for almost 15 years, and had a lot of support and a lot of good people help along the way, and I'm appreciative of that. But it's just time to step down and for me to offer my help for the next chairman of that committee. So thank you.
Through you, Chair, just to kind of go on with what Mr. Callahan, yeah, we did have a nice conversation about it, and Tom's did a tremendous job. And he's still going to be, like he said, active in that role as, whatever the recommendation will be for the next chair. He's done a tremendous job and a tremendous advocate for the city and loves the city. But he's not done yet. He's still going to be, he's going to be a part of that committee still and be active in that role as well. So, but I don't know if anybody else wanted to make some comments, but I'm going to, at this time, does anybody want to make any comments in regards to Ms. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Through the chair, I'm not on this committee, but I have to say I've worked with Tom very closely most of those 15 years, and it's been awesome working with you, and I appreciate all the help and the conversations that we've had. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, I just want to make a comment. I didn't serve with you as long, but I always appreciated the calls on Friday or Saturday mornings updates. You always kept me in the loop on what was going on and asked his suggestions, and I think that really helps the committee, what you did. And the next person, I hope they learned a lot from what you did. Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
Mr. Schneider?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm not on this committee, but I'd just like to echo the same thoughts to Mr. Callahan. Thank you. 15 years is a lot of years to chair a committee, and thank you for that. And you did a great job.
Mr. Callahan?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Thank you for all the kind words to those that have mentioned it. Yes, it's been 15 years, and I've aged 15 years. So, but I always try to enter a meeting with a very positive outlook. I try to bring a little levity sometimes, once in a while. Maybe sometimes it was appreciated, and sometimes maybe it wasn't. But I was very comfortable in my role, and I always appreciated positive feedback and then also suggestions. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, if at this time, what I'd like to do is make a motion to recommend Chad Schneider to assume the role as the Community Development Chair, effective December 2nd, 2024, to the end of the term, December 31st, 2025.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Question?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome aboard, Mr. Schneider.
So,
Thank you.
all right, so through you, Mr. Chair, just a little bit of housekeeping. So typically, the committee appointments and the chairs for those committees, those are done the first meeting of the new term. They're set by the president, so this is midterm, so that's why we go to Rules Committee. There will be a committee report, so if you are on rules, please sign the committee report. If you are not on rules, I guess don't, but if you do, no harm, no foul. Then the committee report will go to the next council meeting and ask for full council to approve the committee report. And then that will be, you, Mr. Schneider, will be officially installed. And Mr. Callahan, I just want to say it's always been a pleasure. And again, you are not fully off the hook because you are still on the committee. But you won't be in the hot seat, I guess. That will be Mr. Schneider. And any wisdom you have, I'm sure you will send his way. So that's kind of how this will work. Okay.
Well, if there's no further business, I'll accept a motion for adjournment. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Make sure, Mr. Callen, make sure you sign the committee report. We'll pass it your way.